nobody rolling around even talking about that. You know what I'm talking about? You know, overseeing the math program. But that's what that is. You know, a medicine is treating that addiction and withdrawal. You know what I'm talking about? You know, that's a body. Yeah. Right. All that.
Yeah, we'll, let us have a good interview.
What happened to I call a little boss man. Let me see. Sharon.
Wait on play.
Yeah, mother. You know, she's sleeping. Yeah.
Hey, Jim, if Ed starts seeing some glitter in front of his house on Wednesday, our crew stopped to take a nature break in front of his house.
What's that?
No, not y'all, just Mr. Atkins. Sorry.
No, not yet.
Good.
There's
I
something.
did it.
All right.
Thank you. And would you like me to go ahead and call the roll now?
Please.
All right, Commissioner Hopkins. I saw him, but I don't see him now. Commissioner Johnson, Commissioner Jackson, Commissioner Young,
Present.
Commissioner Burrell,
Here.
Commissioner Cawthorn, Commissioner Gage Watts, Commissioner Taliaferro,
Here, sir.
Commissioner Atkins,
Here.
Commissioner Chavez,
Here, sir.
Commissioner Lazarus,
Here.
and Commissioner Epperson.
Yeah.
It's 7 present and 5 absent, though I believe Commissioner Hopkins is actually here.
And
He's
7 represents a quorum, does it not?
Yeah.
7 is a quorum, yes, you do have a quorum.
All right, so I'd like to please ask Commissioner Taliaferro to do the invocation, followed by Commissioner Epperson with the Pledge of Allegiance. If we'll all stand, please.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, Lord Jesus, we love you. Because we do, we are so thankful for the opportunity to come together to do your work for our citizens. Lord, we ask your many blessings upon those less fortunate than ourselves. Heavenly Father, be with the men and women in the armed forces, especially those in Afghanistan and other countries abroad. Heavenly Father, protect this nation, Protect this parish, protect this state. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Let's all face the flag. And ask all active military and veterans render the traditional hand salute. All others, right hand across your heart. And we'll repeat the pledge in unison. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Talfero. Thank you, Commissioner Epperson. Mr. Clerk, do we have any agenda additions?
We do have one item today as a potential agenda addition from Commissioner Burrell. It's a special resolution recognizing Ms. Vanessa Brown. She is somebody who's received she works with the Salvation Army and has received a national award. So he's proposing the addition of an item to recognize her for that.
Okay, so we have a motion.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments from commissioners? Anyone opposed on the commission or?
No.
Okay, so now we need to ask if anyone is in the audience would like to speak in favor of this agenda addition. Would anyone in the audience like to speak against this agenda addition? Hearing none, we will accept the agenda addition.
All right.
All right.
Is that
Mr.
by
Clerk?
acclamation or are we gonna vote?
Oh, I guess we better, is this a by acclamation? Does anyone have a problem? Okay, by acclamation. Thank you, Commissioner Hopkins. Okay, Mr. Clerk?
That brings us to citizens' comments, where citizens who wish to address the commission on any issue other than zoning are asked to fill out a comment card located in the chamber foyer and return it to the president or the clerk of commission. Comments are limited to 3 minutes, and I have submitted at least one comment card today.
Okay, I have one comment card for Mrs. Jackson. Come on up, Ms. Jackson. You have 3 minutes to share your thoughts.
Thank you, guys. I have a company pitch, and it might go over 3 minutes. I will ask for additional minutes. It's less than 8 minutes.
An additional minute?
No, not additional minutes, but an extension if needed.
Carry on.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Makey Jackson. I'm CEO, founder of Humanity 2020 Group, which powers Operation Neighborhood Reinforcement Peace Practitioners, where we utilize our voice and not force. We are a nonprofit organization, a service provider for Northwest Louisiana 211 NWLA. It's great to meet you all. First of all, thanks for inviting us back. Second of all, congratulations on your new round funding of American Rescue Plan. I forecast growth in the parish established programs is going to be a high priority for you now, so I thought you might find this of interest. I'm upscaling Operation Neighborhood Reinforcement Peace Practitioner, a non-police mental health response team, another arm of the parish first responder system. The police get sent to crimes, firefighters get sent to fires, peace practitioners get sent to behavioral health incidents. Whether it's a psychotic episode, a dispute, a really difficult unresolved marriage or relationship issue, a substance and alcohol abuse crisis. We're talking about people who may be experiencing the worst day of their life. Operation Neighborhood Reinforcement mission is to specialize in reducing crime, crisis, and the risk of serious injury and or death, to reduce harm during any non-emergency interaction between persons with mental illnesses and or alcohol substance abuse disorder. We're here to help the Caddo Parish move away from the old quota-driven way of serving the mentally ill population and to help empower the citizens by giving them the best practice of services with an activity-based approach. We offer frontline social intervention that responds to non-emergency and non-violent events from Caddo Parish citizens through the NWLA 211, excuse me. In addition to that, we're able to create more professional new jobs for the Caddo Parish. As for the NWLA 211 Information and Referral Agency, there are some mental illnesses, some mental agency that manages crisis situation only if the 211 caller is an established client. On the other hand, we'll be the first to be deployed to the site of crisis. without the 211 call or being an established client. Our staff is unarmed. However, we are armed with mental crisis intervention techniques. Each team consists of an EMT, a mental health worker, a drug and alcohol specialist, a peace practitioner for de-escalation and harm reduction. And our peace practitioners are recruited and trained from their neighborhoods. Okay, that's 3. Can I get a second to go
A
on?
motion to extend.
Is that all?
How long is it, Chairman?
It's up to you. Whoever would like to make the
Give her
motion.
2 minutes.
How long?
I think I need about 3 more minutes. I could speed up about this 3 more
That's
Okay, we can give it 2.
or less.
We have a motion to extend for 2 minutes.
I speed.
All in favor?
Acclamation.
I see no one opposed. Please continue on, Ms.
Thank you,
Jackson.
guys. The great part of working with Operation Neighborhood Reinforcement is that we've been able to implement research and to formulate a solution for Caddo Parish societal problems by our vision of treatment, in preparing the individual to face anticipated progress and favorable circumstances in their life and their community with courage and determination. The citizens of Caddo Parish will be able to adjust well to the sudden changes in their lives and their neighborhoods. The citizens would learn how to analyze the causes in their crisis and cope with it the best way they can. When it comes to duplication of our program, there's none like ours. We found that there are others that Commissioner Jackson said was like ours. We found that she was an information officer, and she does not have no known intervention crisis team, as well as I've spoken to her superior, and he also said I can quote him on that. And I actually texted her and called her, and there's no return call on that. To speed it up, we have a marketing, in terms of marketing, we have already started a soft launch of marketing, and we'll be using the robust marketing to get our name out there so everybody know that where we at and what we do. And I would like to yield back for any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. We aren't able to ask questions in this phase of our agenda, but thank you for updating us on your program, and thank you for your interest in being of service to the community.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Clerk, oh, sorry.
Chairman, can we get a contact though, just for later?
Yeah, we have the contact information. They presented the ARP committee, so we have all that from them. Mr. Clerk, any other?
I have no more
Questions?
citizens' comments, so.
Commissioner Epperson.
Yes, sir. Just want a point of information, Mr. Chairman. If individuals have presentations that may be longer than the 3 minute that we normally allocate, that they would check with their commissioner and maybe get on as a visitor where they can be.
Good point,
Have the
Commissioner.
time that they need.
Good point. Thank you very much for that suggestion.
Good point.
You said no more?
Not that I'm aware of. Would you like me to proceed to the next item?
Yes, sir, please.
All right, that brings us to visitors, where the first item we have today is a presentation from the Caddo Parish Poet Laureate. I believe Pam Atchison from the Shreveport Regional Arts Council is here, along with your current and incoming Poet Laureates.
Pam Atchison and our current and incoming Poet Laureate.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice President Atkins. Thank you, all commissioners. Appreciate the opportunity to share rather a bittersweet moment with you. We've had 3 incredible years with Ashley Mace Havard as your Poet Laureate. And though she's not come to every meeting, because let's be honest, for 2 years we've been COVIDing, so we really haven't had these opportunities to bring people up front, but she has been working so hard as Caddo Parish Poet Laureate to spread the great word about Caddo's commitment to the arts throughout the state of Louisiana and across the South. And even though today represents her last day as the Poet Laureate for you, she's going to present one poem for you to give you a chance in a moment to have an example of something incredible that she created. But it's also a great day because this great man, Poetic X, is your new Caddo Parish Poet Laureate. Thank you so much for selecting him. Thank you so much for the process. Commissioner Atkins, thank you so much for the funding that you personally have provided so that we would have a chance to have a small honorarium for the Poet Laureate, and it truly is a working role. These 2 poets have been teaching, educating, producing events all through the community, and I'm going to do what I hope will be a relatively short introduction first of all for Ashley, then she'll do her poem, then I'll introduce Poetic to you. But Ashley is the author of 2 full-length poetry collections, and both of her poetry collections, well, all of her work is nationally award-winning. Rather than say the awards, because I wish people would buy the books, I'm going to focus on the titles of her work and tell you one of her full-length productions or collections is Wild Juice, and the other one is The Garden of the Fugitives. She also has published 2 poetry chapbooks, Sleeping with Animals, we won't really get into that, and Dirt Eaters, another one that you'll have to read to love. Ashley's poems have appeared in journals and anthologies, very prestigious, including the Southern Review, Swanee Review, Shenandoah, and the American Journal of Poetry. And she also has a novel, Lightning Struck, and it won the Farrell Sams Award for Fiction. She's taught during this past 3 years. You know, she was selected because of her commitment to education and community education. So she's been teaching at the Renzi Center. She's created all kinds of programs that have benefited poets throughout the region. I did think the list was so long that with thanks to Jeff, we gave it to you so that I wouldn't read every one of them today. Hopefully you're looking on your computer. But she's taught young children at Renzi, she's taught college students at Centenary, and she continues to be very involved in adult education as well. She has a 7-week reading session at the Renzi Center that was very innovative, that ended up in each of the children writing their own book, publishing it, and then reading from it for the public. So she was the Caddo Parish Poet Laureate from April 2018 to April 2021, and she truly changed the role from being an honorary position to being a working poet laureate on behalf of the parish. Let me introduce you to outgoing poet laureate Ashley Mace Havard. Ashley?
Well, I'd like to thank Pam for that lovely introduction and for all of her help, because everything that I did as poet laureate was in partnership with SHRAC and with the great help of Pam. She asked me to mention the thing that I'm most proud of the innovations that we accomplished, and that would be the Kallenberg Artist Tower Writers Residency. With that, a state writer applies, there's an application process, and there are 2 per year, and the writer comes for a week to stay in the Artist Tower, which is an ideal location for a residency. The writer gets to know Shreveport in the most beautiful, fantastic historic district, and local writers are able to meet someone new and learn techniques from a brand new writer who's well known. And through workshops, a 3-hour workshop that the resident does, and through conversations and craft talks that are delivered by that writer. So it's a win-win situation. The guests come in, get to know Shreveport, and our writers have the great advantage of meeting and learning from these new people. And this is an ongoing program that I hope to continue to help in any way that I can. So the poem that I'm going to read was written to celebrate Art Break. And can you all hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. And anyway, as you know, Art Break is the largest student arts festival in the South, and it's one of the best things in all of Caddo Parish. The poem explores how play, prayer, and art intersect from prehistory on to make us human. And this is called Festival. I watched my small daughter's hands plunge into jars of paint on sheets that covered the kitchen floor. She was 2. Play of color, surprise of shape and motion. She made a dance of red, blue, green, transformed the sheets, her face, her body. And I thought of the hands of ancient cave painters, hands palpating stone to life. Before play, there was no art. Not children, but still children of the species, eyes fresh enough to see raw beauty in the skills of antlers, fangs, wings, claws. In season, the woods and grasslands grew fat with horses and stags, cattle and bison. Season of strong days that lifted the sun, held it high and long. Season of births, a woman's rounding with young. Before clay made a pot, it formed a figure. Eden Gardens Elementary, art with Mrs. Hackenberg, where my child grasped texture, tone, pattern. With brush and paint, formed what she alone saw. A tree leafing stars into a purple sky. The rust-red river of the city, a snake with flame-like tongue. Self-portrait, straight brown hair and bangs, shorts and cowboy boots. Inside the box of her chest, her heart, the yellow shape of a dog. Our dog who died. Before dog was guard or hunter, it was playmate. For the painters of the walls of Lascaux, Altamira, Neo, Chauvet, play was prayer made visible. Into these caves, arteries that fed the deep beating heart of the earth, they spirited the sacred animals. Torchlight enlivened them. Stampede of bulls, horses at a gallop, keen-eyed lions on the hunt. Such magic in the story, the dance, the song. Before bow became weapon, it made music. Thanks.
Thank you.
And congratulations to Poetic X. He will be a fantastic poet laureate.
Thank you, Ashley.
All right. Thank you, Ashley. All right. This is not goodbye. This is just until tomorrow. But I also want to introduce you to Poetic X, your new poet laureate, and the first time we've had a spoken word artist as poet laureate. He's really going to crush it. He is a poet and an author. He has a passion for art and education. Again, another person who's really committed to all people having a chance to be involved in poetry and the arts. He started out as a poet with a high school writing assignment, and then he began to pursue the art of poetry. And so he brings the art of spoken word with deep, detailed concept that provides mental imagery and a thought-provoking twist. I do think that if you listen carefully to his work, you're always going to hear his thought-provoking twists. You can't take him for granted. So he started off with open mic nights. He's been performing at schools and churches, festivals, private events. Honestly, anyone who wants anything commemorated in our community long-term commissions Poetic X, including the chairman for the National Endowment for the Arts, who considered him to be the poet laureate for the month of April for the NEA with the poem that he wrote to commemorate the only time a chairman has come to visit the city of Shreveport. Poetic also has tons of books and albums of poetry, such as When Faith Begins, It Flourish, From the Soil to the Surface, Exclamation, now you can imagine how exclamation is spelled, exclamation, The Art of Poetry, and he has a poetry book called Poetic X10. He's won the Schrack Fellowship Award, the Bonafide Performance Award, the Scott Griffin Award. Again, in the interest of the fact that I heard earlier John Settle say he hopes it's a shorter meeting, I will not name all of his awards. What I will do is tell you that we have 3 years together to discover all of the joy that Poetic is going to bring to the parish, to the poets, to the students of the parish, and to you, because he is going to come every year and present one new work. So for right now, please hear the second work that you're going to hear from Poetic X. Thank you, Poetic.
All right, how everybody doing? back again. I want to say I appreciate you all for voting me in the first time as poet laureate and getting a chance to do what I love to do. Before I read the poem, I just want to speak about a few initiatives, some of them that I work on at this moment, but some of them I would like to see make manifest in the future. And one is building poetry from scratch, which is a workshop that I would like to work with the youth and libraries, youth or adults, that can get involved in workshops, take miscellaneous items and then produce poetry based on their observation. Flight School Fly Poetry is a workshop that I've been doing numerous amount of times. I've been working with students in Minden, Louisiana under the leadership of Ron Anderson. So I've been having a good time, but I would like to implement Flight School Fly Poetry here in Shreveport. Shock Treatment, Revitalizing Education is a curriculum that I wrote, and it is my goal. I heard that it may be tough, but I would like to get that curriculum into Caddo Parish so that the students can get more involved in poetry and actually have a curriculum that they can relate to, and it's home-based right here in Shreveport. Put a poem on it is an initiative that I would like to see where poets, if it could be agreed upon by the commission of persons in the city, where poems are put on certain properties in the city, maybe one poem a year. And if there's a location that you all select, then that is fine, or if it's a location that the poets select, then that's fine. How to Get to Poetry Street is an initiative for the youth, and they just go around to different locations in Shreveport, Louisiana, and you have sponsors from different businesses, and once they get there, you have a poet already at the location, and they maybe give them gift bags, and they just go from location to location. How to Get to Poetry Street. Poetic Sundays in Caddo Park is an event that is already in place. It happens every third Sunday of the month. And Jukebox 7 Records is a record company that I started in 2018 because I wanted to get poets and writers involved in the publishing and the registering of their music with BMI and Sound Exchange, and then taking it more serious. So that's just a few of the initiatives. And the poem that I will read now is called Look Up Child, and it's based on a passion for education. It was written for the transformation zone when that began in Caddo Parish. Every morning when the bell rings, I know the day has a calling on me. It says to me, look up, little child. Aren't you happy I dialed? I replied, just as happy can be. As a matter of fact, I've been thinking that maybe I should call on the day and command that energy be applied to education in every meaning of the way. For it has unselfishly given us a school of gifted minds, presents to present when presentations seem to be running out of time. Look up, child. You're standing in the middle of midway. If it starts to rain, don't complain, simple and plain. Trouble can't stay. Happy thoughts for the right side of the brain. All those for brain power raised their hands. Then the development came. Education meets innovation, new classroom tactics, new installations. All this just for us? It must have been a lot of work. Long hours, days and nights assembling power. The goal is to make education work. Look up, child. Don't you ever forget. Never judge a book by its cover. Study the sentences, quotations and parentheses. Stay focused on the subject. Study it. Test time will come. Victory will beat its drum. And when that mighty mountain comes, you won't be afraid. Then you can run home and show off the good grades you've made. Rewards are reserved for those that pay attention. Eyes open wide every time school pride is mentioned. Look up, child. The children of blessings walk these hallways, motivating, understanding, shaping, transforming, accelerating, nurturing, growing students is what the hall says. And that is our bond. Each one teach one. We won't leave education undone. Our yard will start to reflect. The gardens of our intellect, seeds will sprout. More precious fruits and vegetables will grow out. And the students will say, how plentiful the harvest. Enough education to go around. Isn't planting a seed in the ground marvelous? And the day will say, where there's no plan, there's no vision. Education versus elimination. Make a decision. Look up, child. Creativity soars on these planes. High altitudes. You can reach a star with the right attitude. We refer to it as reaching winner's lane. Determined to pursue learning, 500 horsepower state-of-the-art Mustangs. If you build it, students will come, and victory will beat its drum. Then the day will say, what a wonderful job you've done. The mighty mountain will know defeat. Education will have reached its peak. Hooray, hooray, the children yell, as education continues to prevail. Up in the sky, only to be seen by the trained eye. Look up, child.
Thank you, Poetic. There may be some questions. Commissioner Epperson, I see you're on the board. Is that old?
That's all.
Okay, I'm gonna clear that. Any questions or comments for Poetic Acts or Ms. Atkins?
Well done.
Stephen, Commissioner Jackson?
Yes, thanks, Poetic Acts,
Yes, sir.
and thank you, Ms. Ashley Harvard. I don't know if she left, but thank y'all for your service to Caddo Parish. I like the ideas that you have, so if you don't mind, I don't know if it's proprietary or not, but maybe share that with Pam, and Pam share it with Jeff and administration, so we can see how we can help you put some of those things into action. I like the idea, particularly about putting poetry on maybe some type of plaque or something around the city, kind of like what we're doing with the murals, Pam. So more art, the happier our city can be, and so just let us know how we can help take those thoughts that you have and put them into action. So our annual NGO appropriation, I don't know if you want to work it through SHRAC or if you want to do it individually as the poet laureate, but we'll definitely get that to us as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I will do.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Commissioner Talaferro.
I know. Ashley, Pam, and X, I have a great appreciation of the arts, and I have a daughter who is now a Tiger down at LSU Baton Rouge as of this weekend, and it is because of her wonderful training in the quiet talent, I say, of poetry and art, that she has flourished as an artist and as a poet, and amongst her dance accomplishments as well. So I appreciate your talent that God has given you, has anointed you with, because I see it in her, and I see her flourishing because of the great teachings that she has had from people such as yourself. And I applaud you for choosing this path, and we can't say enough of appreciation about the great works that you've done and will continue to do. So I'm very much appreciative as a parent, and I wish you all the best, and thank you so much for your service to our community.
Thank you.
Okay. Seeing no one else on the board, thank you very much,
Okay, thank
Pam
you.
and Poetic X. We appreciate you coming in and appreciate your talent. Okay, Mr. Clerk.
All right, the next item is a presentation from American Millennium Project with Mr. Chris Chandler.
Hello, Mr. Chandler.
Good afternoon, everybody. Mask off for talking?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Good deal. Thank you all for having me today. It's been a long time. I've been waiting to get in here in a face-to-face meeting and say hello to everybody and introduce y'all to the American Millennium Project. Jeff, I know you corrected it on the email, but it still says millennial. That is millennium. I'm not a millennial anymore. So I launched a project back in the year 2000, January of 2000, at the Millennium. After working on it for 8 years and developing it, I launched a project to teach local history and local culture to our local community. Now, if you'll pause for a second and think that through, we don't teach local history. Not in Caddo Parish, not in Louisiana, not across the United States of America. No communities teach local history. They all have fallen into the model of teaching state history, U.S. history, and world history. So the local communities are up to their own devices to educate the local citizens. So in the year 2000, I created the American Millennium Project after I came back from a trip to Europe, where I had a great opportunity after college and I backpacked all over Europe. I had a wonderful experience that very few people get to have. And in that experience, I learned a lot from the Europeans about their local communities as I was hopping around from community to community all across Europe. And then I started thinking about my hometown. I was born and raised in Shreveport, Louisiana. And I went to public schools here, went to university here in Shreveport. And as I was meeting and interacting with people from around the world in Europe, I was finding out that they really knew their local history. Boy, were they excited to share it with me, the traveler. And then they started asking me questions about, well, where are you from? Can you tell us about your place? Of which I could not respond. I was 22 years old and had lived in this community for all those years, but I had nothing to offer about what I knew about Shreveport. This started the wheels turning on the project. The American Millennium Project comes from that. I did get to travel all across the United States after my trip to Europe, and I found that Shreveport was not alone, that people in Dallas and San Francisco and New York and Chicago and Chattanooga, Tennessee, none of them were being taught about their local communities either. So the local people really were not ambassadors to their own hometowns because they weren't taught it. So this project, the American Millennium Project, is a 501c3. It is a nonprofit. That's the way I decided to organize it, against the advice of many businessmen who told me I should structure this as a for-profit entity. That's not my goal. I come from the business community, but I wanted to teach. My goal, my ambition, my whole purpose of life from this point forward is to teach. I love Shreveport, I love Caddo only because of one reason, I think, because all my friends have left. I love Shreveport because I know Shreveport. I know Shreveport's history. I know where we came from and why we came from those situations. I know why we have the problems we have today because I know the history of this community. And it doesn't make me dislike the community, it makes me fall in love with it. I understand the struggles. I want to teach that to young people. So the American Millennium Project is designed to interact with students at 6th grade. So in 6th grade, students can join the American Millennium Project, or for short, because nobody can spell millennium, not to make fun of you, Jeff, nobody can spell the word, so it's AMP. We're changing the design of the logo and everything, but AMP is introduced to middle school. Those students that want to can join our club, and here's what they're gonna get. I'm a club kid, so I was in Key Club in high school. I was a fraternity guy in college. I was a Rotaract Club in college as a Rotarian. In the business world, I know how people want to join clubs. If you're not in sports, by God's sake, I hope you join a club somewhere in your educational system so you can build relationships. But I've decided to create the club model, and I've used all of my clubs that I participated in my life to build the AMP model. 6th graders can join a club. When they graduate 8th grade and move and transition to high school, which is very difficult for our youth, very difficult time of life, they go into high school and that club is waiting for them in 9th grade. Okay? 6th grade through high school, when they go off to college, if they so choose, the colleges have AMP clubs waiting for them. Each year, the model is to teach local history to you, local culture, and then expand it as you grow with the club in your years with it. So by the time you're in college, you're not just traveling the local community and the region, but you are traveling the country and the world with the American Millennium Project. I believe the best education, and I am a Caddo Parish product of education of this community, I learned so much in my travels that I didn't learn in the classroom. And I'm not discounting what we do learn, because they did teach me to read and write, and I do appreciate all of those great things. But the value of travel is something that I want to instill in young people. I think it opens their world once they see things from a different perspective. And we're going to do that all throughout the middle schools in Caddo Parish. 6th grade, public, private, and charter schools will all have the opportunity to have these clubs. And I'm going to wrap it up by telling you we have expanded from Caddo, so even though we haven't completed it, and COVID has not allowed us to organize over the last 18 months, we're hoping that in 2 weeks we will be launching clubs in every school in Caddo Parish, middle and high, including all the universities in Caddo Parish. So we'll start in 2 weeks. It's already set up. I've already got the relationships, approval of superintendents, principal relationships. We have teachers in place that are sponsoring the clubs. So we are on go in Caddo Parish. We're also launching another 63 parishes in Louisiana this fall. So we are now a state project. I've already met with our state. I'm actually living in Baton Rouge right now. We are developed in all 64 parishes, and we're taking the model that I did for Caddo, and we're
Thank
just
you, Mr.
duplicating
Chandler.
it. So
Thank you. Your time has expired.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Any questions from anybody about what we're doing? I just wanted to introduce it to you today. I hope you'll take the time to read the summary and the goals and the list of tours that we've put together in Caddo Parish.
We have a couple of questions. Commissioner Talfero.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Chris, you and I have spoken on numerous occasions and in great length and depth about your vision. Explain to the commission, and we've had this conversation, but explain to the commission why the importance of local history. You did mention many of your friends that have moved away, and you know, what's the core of learning about local history?
The core is that I believe if people would have invested in learning about this community, they would have fallen in love with it like I did. They would have had a bond here. They would have wanted to raise a family and start a business and invest back in this community. But because they didn't, we grow up with Shreveport-itis. Everybody knows what that means. And this community that I love, I see collapsing. So the only thing that I can offer is education. That's what I've chosen. I've looked at the gamut of different things I could do with my personal life to have an impact. I saw education as the answer. That's why I created this club system to teach.
And what, if I may, Mr. President, and as I understand it from our conversation, you are actually extending an open invitation to the members of the commission to go on any one of your, how many, 16 tours?
We have 16 tours
16
in
tours.
Caddo Parish. I would love to show you what I'm doing. It's a lot better than me talking about it or giving you a video presentation. But a tour itself would demonstrate to you what Caddo Parish students, not just students, my tours are open for any private group, a church group, a board of directors meeting. Anybody can book an AMP tour, and it's about a 3-hour tour. So any group can go on a tour. And we do have 16 wonderful, unique tours already developed just within the borders of Caddo Parish. That tells you how much history and culture we have right here, guys.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chandler, we also have a question from Parliamentarian Burrell.
Thank you, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chris, it's good seeing you as always.
Yes.
You go back quite a ways. Now, in terms of your stories that you're telling locally, you're going to do that for all 64 parishes, where you're actually going into those parishes
Yes,
to try to
yes.
develop that history.
Yeah, how do I do that, right? So I meet with the local historical societies, parish by parish, the local school boards and the universities within each parish, and that's where I find my partnerships, and I join with them. They know their local history, I don't, and I partner with them and share the model. They help develop it for their parish.
Well, you know, local history can be positive and it can be
Challenging.
negative.
Yes.
And my concern is always to tell the truth.
Absolutely. So is mine.
And I think that's so important, and everything be transparent.
Yeah.
I can support that, but if we're going to color it the way we want to color it, then I have no interest.
Yeah, well, you'll love, when you go on my tour, you'll see what we're teaching. Stephen, you've been on a tour before in Cedar Grove. My tours are very educational, and we do tell the good, bad, and ugly, and I know what that means, the good, bad, and the ugly. We teach from a perspective, so it is challenging in many ways, but it is the best way that I've found to teach the history is to tell the way it really, the truth.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Any other questions for Mr. Chandler? Seeing no one else on the board, thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming in, Chris.
Appreciate
We
it.
appreciate it, and thanks for what you're doing for our community. Mr. Clerk.
All right, that brings us to old business, where we have 2 items. The first is a discussion related to trash, litter, and aesthetics in the parish from Commissioner Epperson.
Okay, this is a new kind of approach on the agenda item. Commissioner Epperson, I'll just turn to you and ask what's on your mind.
I don't know how many of you may have received complaints relative to trash and litter throughout the parish of Caddo. Basically, when you enter Caddo Parish from I-20 heading east out of Texas, Most people come through, they don't know the difference whether you're Shreveport, Greenwood, or whatever. Just food for thought. This is an issue that I think we need to really address. We have signs that's up saying littering $50, $500, things of this nature. We got Shreveport Green that's working in things. We got different communities that will adopt certain sections of the road. But I think we're at the point now as to whereas all governmental entities need to find a way to sit down and we attack this thing as a whole. Not the city of Shreveport, not the Caddo Parish, not the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development, not the federal government on the interstates, but we need to come up with a collective, comprehensive plan to address litter and the aesthetics of what people see once they cross the boundaries from Texas, be it I-20 west, be it coming from Mississippi, heading west on I-20, or you coming from 171 south heading this way, or I-49 from the north heading this way. So I'm just hoping that we can get together with businesses, with community groups, and let's come up with a comprehensive and a consistent plan to attack litter, and the aesthetics of the way things look in this parish.
Thank you,
That's all I want to do was have
Thank you,
food for
Commissioner.
thought.
I see Commissioner Hopkins has a thought to share on this topic.
Yeah, I agree 100% with Commissioner Epperson. We've got a problem. I know our public works are doing, they've got a new contract and they're doing a good job, but it's gotten out of hand. And I would like us to sit down again with our constables and justices of the peace and explain, there's a lot of new ones, and explain to them the program that they can do and run it through their JPs, and they can split that money. And they're always looking for money somehow or another. So this might be a way to increase their revenue and at the same time take care of some of this litter. But it's terrible. It doesn't matter if it's on I-20 or I-49. You can drive in and out of little roads all over Caddo Parish, and there's tires and there's trash, and something's got to be done. So I agree. We need to get this issue and hit it hard. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Chavez.
Thank you, Chairman. You guys know how I feel about litter. We house 20. Every quarter we do a cleanup in Southern Hills, and we've been thankful enough to get about 50 to 100 volunteers to come out. So we're going to push harder with that. I'm glad Commissioner Epperson put this out. This is near and dear to my heart. One of the main reasons I even ran for public office. Dr. Wilson, I do see those black trash cans with Caddo Parish logos all throughout the parish, especially in the rural areas that you guys have placed out there. On bridges where people fish off of. I'm very appreciative of that. I know we got a lot of complaints where people would fish and they would leave trash everywhere. So I know the parish is doing everything they can. And I've said this, guys, for the last 4 years, we have NGOs to the tune of, and economic development grants that we give out to the tune of almost $2 million a year. I still believe that if we have an NGO that we're helping fund their operation, that we should ask them to adopt a street. I have a couple other business guys on my street, on Marshall Street. We've all come together and we're going to adopt Marshall Street, and we're going to do a quarterly cleanup and pick up the trash. So we have 5 other businesses on other streets around Shreveport that have agreed to do the same thing. But I still think that our NGOs that are asking us for revenue to help with their projects, that we should ask them to help us clean up our city and our parish. If we're giving them $50,000, $100,000, some people $250,000, it's nothing to say, hey, will you please adopt a 1-mile strip in our city and do a quarterly cleanup? There's many of citizens that want to volunteer to help out this community. And I think the biggest thing is the kids. They see it. They're out there with us picking up the trash, and they're educated to the point where they are riding with their parents or they're riding with their friends' parents, and they see their friends throw trash out. And they realize that there's not a maid in the city that just walks down the street and picks up this trash, that it's us, that it's our community, and it's not somebody else's problem. If your house is dirty, you have to clean it up. The city is an extension. It's our house too. We can't just say, well, who's gonna do it? And I pay taxes for this. Well, at the end of the day, if you have a party at your house and all your friends leave, you're still the one cleaning up your house, regardless if you help pay for that party. So I think we should really look at that. Commissioner Hopkins, that's a great idea on the constables and the JP. I'll get with you and we'll create a long-range planning meeting to see how we can invite them to come down, and I'll get with the administration and see what's a way that we can revenue generate from them to help the citizens get some relief out in the parish.
Thank you,
Commissioner,
Commissioner
thank you.
Chavez. Thank you. Parliamentarian Burrell.
That'd be a quota. Isn't that illegal?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again,
Have a
Commissioner Epperson,
Depending on the
this,
fine.
this is something that is really an eyesore. I know just driving down out 20 and seeing stuff on the side of the road, I was just telling someone the other day I was coming up I-49, and before I got to Southern Loop, somebody had put a sofa out on the side of the road. How can, I mean, that's, to have the audacity to put something that large and just sit it off the side of the road, just, you know, just really boggles my mind. When I was working in the community, in the neighborhood, you know, we established a program to engage our churches in their youth groups, which we could get more bang for the buck. You know, they're always looking for funds and resources for their youth group. You know, I would like to see some of that money go toward those youth groups, which in many cases, in many churches, they establish a separate nonprofit because you can't give public money directly to church entities, but you can give it to their nonprofits. And what we were able to do during the time that I was on the city council and working with the neighborhoods, it gives these youngsters a sense of pride, and they know who the biggest litterers are. If you want to know what's going on in there, I just ask the kids. They know. And if it gives them that type of pride, hopefully they'll work toward making their neighborhood cleaner. I used to have a slogan, you could be poor, but you don't have to be nasty. We work toward that end, but it's not just the poor people either. It's a lot of, you'd be surprised at the people who junk up our parish. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Young.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President, and thank you to Mr. Epperson for putting this discussion item on our agenda. I just wanted to point out another way that we could conceivably, as a government or as a cooperation of governments, influence some of the sources of the litter that we see in our communities, especially the most durable litter. There's an example here. As an example, there are some fast food restaurants close to my house. One of them is a national chain, and all of its food is wrapped in paper, which breaks down in the rain. And there's also a local chain, which I actually prefer, but they all their food is packaged in styrofoam. There are cities in America where styrofoam has been made illegal for single-use food service items, so they don't have to pick it up because businesses aren't allowed to bring it in and save money by importing indestructible garbage, which eventually washes down into the ocean. So it might not be within our jurisdiction significantly to influence that, but we could cooperate with the city to consider some forms of restrictions on the types of materials that can be brought in, knowing that they are very likely to become litter and a public cost to clean up. So I just wanted to mention that. Thank you. That's all.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Commissioner Young. Seeing nobody else, thank you, Commissioner Epperson, for bringing that to the agenda. Commissioner Clerk, where are we now?
That next item is action relative to oil and gas drilling in District 12. That's another one that was a holdover from the last meeting.
Commissioner Epperson, did you want to lead us into discussion here?
Yes, I've received some information since I've been here that sort of changed the generics of what I had in mind at this point in time. So I'd like to reserve this to get with Public Works Department and advance this to this discussion to Thursday's meeting.
Okay. So we have a motion to advance this item from
Yes.
Commissioner Epperson.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Epperson, a second from Commissioner Chavez. Any discussion on this matter? Everybody please vote.
All right, and that motion carries with 8 in support and none in opposition. That brings us to new business. We have several items today. The first item under new business is 8.1, authorized introduction of ordinance 6102 of 2021, and that's in relation to zoning case 21-27-P. It's an ordinance to amend volume 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the Parish of Caddo as amended, the Caddo Parish Unified Development Code, by amending the zoning of property located on the north side of Ellaby Road at the end of Red Rick Drive, Caddo Parish, Louisiana, from R17 Single Family Residential District to C1 Neighborhood Commercial District, and to otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Motion to advance to Thursday.
Second.
Motion to advance by Commissioner Chavez and a second by Commissioner Epperson. Would you like to speak on your motion, Commissioner Chavez?
This was passed by acclamation from the MPC with no opposition from the citizens, so I'd ask for your support in moving this forward to Thursday. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Epperson, do you have a comment, or is that an old, your name just keeps popping up on the board? That's an old one?
That's an old.
Okay. All right, let's vote. Whoops, I got the wrong one. Just to be clear, we're voting to forward this matter to Thursday's agenda.
All right, and that motion carries with 9 in support and none in opposition. Just as a quick reminder, I just wanted to double check to see, it looks like the voting booth is going to be picking up the Commissioner Atkins's vote as Commissioner Johnson's vote. So if you could click on your voting pad, if you don't mind.
I'll try to remember to
help ensure the accuracy, and we can make sure that that is reflected correctly in the minutes.
Thank you for noting that, Mr. Epperson. Can you make sure we get that all corrected for the minutes?
Well, we will.
Okay,
yeah, we have a note of it, certainly. I just wanted to let you know going forward. It looks like maybe we'll restart it. Linda may be able to change it to where your vote will. You can vote
I'll vote on the other.
station
I'll
where
vote
you
on the
are
other
now.
side of the partition unless I hear that Linda has it corrected.
And it will come up on your screen too. You can double check it there as well.
Okay.
Okay. So on, and I'm sorry. On to the next item is to 8.2, authorize introduction of ordinance number 6103 of 2021. It's an ordinance creating the Amazon TIF district, state of Louisiana, defining the boundaries thereof, from which area local sales tax, property tax, and hotel occupancy tax increments will be determined and used to finance economic development projects in accordance with and as authorized by Part 2 of Chapter 27 of Title 33 of the Louisiana Revised Statutes of 1950 as amended, and providing for other matters in connection with the foregoing, and that's in District 3.
Move for introduction.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from from Commissioner Jackson and a second from, it sounded like, Commissioner Chavez. Commissioner Jackson, would you like to speak on your motion?
Yes, this is just setting up the TIF district, withdrawing the district. This doesn't levy or provide any increases in taxes. It's only relative to the parish portion of taxes that are being collected there, so don't want anybody to think that this is a tax increase or any new taxes. This is nothing new. In fact, I believe for the vast majority of these first couple of years, there probably won't be much generated at all because we don't go to reassessments for another 3 or 4 years, and so but this is just something to help encourage development and infrastructure improvements in and around that particular corridor. So that way they don't have to come down here and ask us to do it. So I ask for us to move this forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Burrell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just as a matter of information, a point of information on this particular TIF district that you foresee will not have any voters in it. It'll be strictly
I don't know if Stephen is here, but we asked him not to. It's just only Stephen Walker put the map together, and my understanding is from him, the email that I got from him was there are no voters. There are no voters in here, so it's only the commercial area.
Well, I just wanted to make that statement because I know we would have to take it to a referendum. We would have to take it to a referendum on voting if you wind up including any residential voters, I guess, in it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Jackson, I've got some, first of all, thank you. I think this is a great idea. Thank you for taking the initiative to put this on the agenda. I'd gotten some feedback from the Economic Development Committee that maybe, since there's working a TIF in that area, maybe it'd be nice to roll this in and kind of work those together. So Mr. Wolf could see it and we could just kind of be coordinated in that regard. Would you be open to that?
I mean, I'd ask us to move this forward, but if they want to discuss it, I'm open to having them discuss it, but I'd still prefer us to move it forward. And,
okay.
You know, if he has...
we can move it forward and then discuss this on Thursday?
Oh, yeah, sure. Nothing prevents them from talking about it on Thursday.
Okay. All right. So we have a motion from Commissioner Jackson and a second from Commissioner Chavez. I see no one else on the board. Everyone please vote.
Point of information.
Oh, yes, sir.
Now, if we move it, which is fine, we won't be discussing on Thursday because it's only introduction by Tyler.
Oh, I thought y'all had a meeting.
So,
no, this is something separate.
No.
I think this is something separate, right?
Yeah, we met on, the Economic Development Committee met on I-49.
Oh.
And they're not proposing anything at this time.
Oh, okay, I thought that was the meeting they was talking about.
Yeah. So at that point, we'd have to vote it up or down?
No.
Not Thursday, this is introduction.
It just goes for introduction. We don't do any voting or any discussing.
Yeah, I know,
Thursday.
today.
And we can discuss it today.
Well,
if there's people that want to discuss it.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'm just making the point that we're moving it to Thursday. There's no discussion on Thursday.
I thought there was a committee meeting or something on Thursday or something with.
But I guess what I'm saying, pardon me, Commissioner Jackson, I guess what I'm saying is, on Thursday, we can vote to move it to committee. Someone could propose it be moved to committee.
Oh, no, I don't.
Not on Thursday, no.
No?
No.
I mean, what I'm saying is I don't foresee needing to move it to committee at all. If the committee just wants to discuss, I thought y'all were talking tips in general.
Yes, sir, as it relates to I-49.
And so what I'm saying is they just want to include this, but as commissioner for this area, regardless of what that committee does, I'm in favor of putting one in this area.
Okay. Yeah. All right, we have a motion and a second. Everybody, please vote.
Thank you.
So I'm moving it to Thursday.
Move for introduction.
I mean, I guess I should. I mean, it sounds like there's some discussion or something.
Well, a lot of people, you know, the chairman of the Economic Development Committee had an interest in just making sure that it was coordinated with some of the other TIF activity. So, you know, I don't know exactly what was on his mind. I was just
okay, because he hadn't talked to me about it, and I know I talked to him, but he didn't mention it to me.
Yeah, I think.
He said the chairman of the Economic Development Committee. I'll reach out to him again. But.
Well, I think he just came up on Monday this morning, and you know, it's kind of a rush kind of thing.
Oh.
So.
I'll reach out to him. Thank you.
That motion carried with 9 in support and none in opposition to advance. Do you want me to proceed?
Yes, sir, please.
Okay. The next item is to authorize resolution number 62 of 2021. That's a resolution to relocate the polling place for precinct 72 from LSUS Baptist Student Center, 1 University Place, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71115, to University Elementary School at 990 Smitherman Drive in Shreveport, Louisiana, 71115, and otherwise providing with respect thereto.
The chairman will make the motion to move this to advance this to Thursday since it's in District 9.
Second.
I'm not sure where the second came from there.
That was Commissioner Lazarus.
Lazarus? Okay, so the motion was made by the chairman and it was seconded by Commissioner Lazarus. Just as a bit of background for our colleagues around the horseshoe here, LSUS has been growing dramatically and we kind of got squeezed out of our location there, and so we had to move down to University Elementary School. So I thank the administration for working to find an alternative voting site there. Any questions or discussion? I see Chavez is on the board. No, sorry, Parliamentarian Burrell, is that current or old?
No, that was previous
Previously?
comments, yeah.
Is yours previous?
Well, you kind of answered it. My question was, is this coming from District 9 or coming from administration? But you just answered that, so.
It came from administration with discussion with District 9.
Well, I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, I think we're good to vote, Mr. Clerk.
Thank you, and that motion passes with 9 in support and none in opposition to advance. And that brings us to the next item, to authorize resolution number 63 of 2021. It's a resolution to authorize the Caddo Parish Administrator to consent to the assignment of state agency leases 19509, 20131, 20133, and 20134, and otherwise providing with respect thereto. Those are in District 11.
Move to Thursday.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion from Commissioner Lazarus and a second from Commissioner Hopkins. Any discussion? Commissioner Jackson, is that Newton?
I'll yield to the maker of the motion.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This comes from Public Works with approval from administration. Just ask that you move to Thursday.
Thank you. Now, Commissioner Jackson.
This your district?
Yes, sir.
You okay with this?
Yes, sir.
You don't have to send it to no other committee to have them flesh it out, do they?
Commissioner Jackson, let's be fair. Let's be fair.
No, I'm serious. Do you?
I'm good.
You're good with it. I'm good with it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I'll remind my colleague that we all voted in support of moving it to Thursday.
No. Well, folks are not here.
All right. I guess everybody good? Commissioner Jackson, you're done?
Oh, yes, sir.
All right. Please vote on moving it to Thursday.
And that motion carries with 9 in support and none in opposition. And that brings us to authorization of resolution number 64 of 2021. It's a resolution requesting Registrar of Voters and Caddo Parish Administrator to take all necessary action to add an early voting location at the Shreve Memorial Hamilton Library Branch and otherwise providing with respect thereto.
Move to advance to Thursday?
Second.
All right, we got motion from the chair, second from Commissioner Chavez. The Registrar of Voters spoke to us in detail about this item a few weeks ago, and so I'm just trying to push forward. I should say that Commissioner Jackson, Commissioner Lazarus, and I have moved that we push forward with that initiative. Who else do we have on the board? Commissioner Chavez?
Thank you, Chairman. I would request the authors that I may co-sponsor this legislation.
That's certainly fine with me.
And Commissioner Jackson, this is in my district, so definitely want to be abreast of what's going on.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Chavez. Commissioner Jackson, you're on the board.
Yeah, no, I also want to point out that when I read the resolution, we also continue to ask that we work with the legislative delegation as well as the Registrar of Voters to, I think it's always been our intent to have more than just one satellite. And so that we don't see this as the end all, because I do believe we can benefit from other satellite locations throughout Caddo Parish. And so by no means is this supposed to be the end all or solution, but definitely would like to see us continue working with our legislative delegation to find at least 2 or 3 more sites, particularly in North Caddo, as well as something on the west side of town.
Yeah,
I think they looked at the West Shreveport branch this time and didn't see it, but whatever we can in the west.
Phase 2.
Right. Let's just not think that this is the end. And so I believe that is in the resolution somewhere that urges the parish administrator and the registrar to continue working with. I think those additional sites are going to require legislative.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Approval.
We need some legislation changed.
Right, some changes.
To give us authorization to go beyond the additional one we have.
Okay. So let's keep our eyes on the ball on that one.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner
Thank
Jackson.
Thank you.
All right. Seeing no one else on the board, let's vote. Voting on forwarding this to Thursday.
All right, and that motion carries with 9 in support and none in opposition. That brings us to the next item, the authorization of resolution number 65 of 2021. It's a resolution giving notice of intention to create an economic development district and otherwise providing with respect thereto in District 3.
Move to the, not this Thursday, but the next regular session. Not this one, but the next regular session meeting. I'll get a second.
Second.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Jackson and a second by Commissioner Lazarus, was it?
September, the first September meeting.
To move to not this Thursday, but the next work session, or regular session?
Regular session.
Which is going to be the September 2nd.
Okay. Moved, a request to move it to the September 2nd regular session. Okay, Commissioner Jackson, any comments on that?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I do something wrong?
You have to publish the notice of intent twice before you can pass the ordinance.
Okay, so this is just the notice of intent.
This is the notice of intent, and this authorizes that publication to go twice, and I believe the second will be your, if it gets in twice in the official journal, then the second would be the date of passage.
We actually have time because the way the calendar falls, there's an extra week. So looking at the days, it looks like we would be able to publish twice.
Well, you can't publish it unless you pass this
Yeah,
on
correct.
Thursday.
So this would need to be adopted before those. Yeah.
Okay.
But it wouldn't. But I suppose what I'm trying to say is, there is more time than there would typically be between a meeting cycle, between this meeting.
For the ordinance.
This meeting and the next one for the ordinance.
Okay. I'm sorry. So we do need to adopt this on Thursday. Okay. We'll move this to Thursday then. I apologize.
So now the motion is to move it to Thursday?
Yes, I apologize.
Okay, and does Commissioner
Sure, I'll
Lazarus'
second.
second apply? Okay, Commissioner Jackson, can you comment? We're a little, or at least I'm a little, the chair is a little bit confused right now. Can
Yeah,
you,
no, I
provide
apologize. I thought I had this confused. I thought that this had to be on twice, but we only have to advertise two times. So I got the resolution confused with the advertisement. But this is just giving a notice of intent. Nothing will be created here. This is just saying what our intentions are. I am having at least 2 stakeholder meetings, community and stakeholder meetings in the area to discuss this. So want to make sure that we have proper time for that. But I got it confused, and so I asked that this be moved to Thursday and pass favorable. Again, this is just a notice of intention.
Okay.
Thank you. And
All
it's
right.
required.
Thank you,
by law.
Commissioner Jackson. We have Parliamentarian Burrell on the board.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just another point of information. I know at one time we had an economic development district within the city. Is this outside that district? I know legislation was passed. At one time we have a.
You're talking about the Red River District?
No, economic development district as defined in terms of economic development district. We did that back when Bo Williams was mayor, so I wasn't sure whether this was in that area or not. It may be just outside because it only took up a certain boundary within the city.
Would that be like the Agers Business District or something like that?
No,
North
it
Shreveport?
could be included in it. I can see the boundary, but I just don't know if this portion is in it.
I think I've heard something like the North Shreveport Business District, but I don't know if it's a TIF though.
I think that's a separate one, but I'm just saying that you may want to check and see if it's not already a district already formed in terms of economic development district for the city.
But this is, and to be clear, this is only related to parish, not city. This is only parish portion of it, so.
Well, the city is in the parish, so I would
Right, but the
assume
city
that
wouldn't be able to draw a district that affected parish taxes without our consent.
I was about to say you have to consent to draw the district, either one, if it's in either area.
Right.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
For instance, if the city wanted to draw a district that encompassed part of the unincorporated area of the parish, they would need parish consent, vice versa.
But isn't Amazon, is it in the city or in the parish? Or outside the city limits, let's put it that way. But that's what I consider the parish portion of, and not the city. Just check and see. It doesn't matter. I'm just saying that I know that we did an economic development district for the city when I was there, because I was the one who sponsored legislation. And I just wanted to make sure that we're not just duplicating what's already there. If it's not there, fine, let's go with it.
No.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Chavez.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm a little confused in that conversation. Are you saying the Amazon plan is outside of the city limits or inside?
In the city.
Yeah, I thought it's inside. Okay, so for the TIF district, because a lot of people aren't familiar with the TIF district, what's it? Tax increment financing.
District.
We're going to take, so we're not going to raise the taxes. We're going to take our portion, the parish portion, and not just for that area, but upwards of like over there by the Brookshires, and all down along the lines of North Market. What exactly, from the parish standpoint, are we going to invest in economically, or what can we to develop that area? Because we're not doing the roads and the infrastructure or the water. So what, from the parish aspect, can we finance with those portions of our funds that we withhold from the other services that the parish offers? And that's a question for administration, just for my own knowledge. I'm cool with this. I like the fact that Commissioner Jackson is thinking outside the box to help this business grow here and grow some jobs. But what are we going to end up paying for economically with those funds? Maybe we'll get that answer. We can wait till Thursday if you guys want to research that.
You want to take a stab at it, Erica?
The monies you generate, the undedicated revenues, will be up to the commission. I mean, the administration can make a recommendation, but right now, I think the idea is to improve the area in the TIF. So that would, as you generate the monies and you're wanting to allocate those monies to a particular improvement, then that would be decided at that time.
So, Commissioner Chavez, what will happen, the business would approach us to help them make improvements to their facade or whatever along that path.
Right.
And that money will be used for that purpose.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah, in that corridor.
So we just don't know yet, but there's going to be a pot there to help them.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay, got it. Thanks, guys.
They would
Thank you,
apply with
Chairman.
the parish again.
Commissioner Atkins, thank you for that.
All right. Commissioner Jackson, you're next on the board, but may I ask administration a question? What, are we able to, so there's not a problem with us imposing a TIF upon property that's within the city limits?
Before you create the TIF, you have to get the city's consent.
Okay.
Because it is creating the district, but they don't have to approve any levy of taxes.
Right.
So
I see.
there will need to be a consent on the creation.
Okay. All right, thank you. Commissioner Jackson, you're on the board.
Yeah, and I just wanted to note that this particular, to answer Commissioner Chavez's question, that's what I was getting back in the queue to do. I think there was a request for about $3 million to do street or infrastructure, or $1.2 million, $5 million, something like that. There was a request to do infrastructure improvements in this area.
Oh, in support of Amazon?
Right.
Initially, yes.
Right.
But we were fortunate enough because the state decided to do it all.
Right. So
yes.
There's initially a request to do infrastructure improvements.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically what your TIF will say is, okay, you know, and again, it's not rededicating anything. It's basically taking the first dollars above what is already coming in. So when entities like this come in, there's automatically, or there's perceived to be, an improvement in that area. And so values go up. Anytime you take a mass concentration of people and put them in one area, there's going to be an impact. And so when that first dollar above, not anything that we will raise, not anything that we will levy, but the first dollar above it goes toward supporting things like that infrastructure improvement that they were requesting. We don't necessarily have to turn to the state and ask the state to do that, resources and revenue will have already been generated to do something like that. And so that's why this is good to do. I can send y'all the articles. Just about everywhere that Amazon is gone, a TIF pops up either before or right after it. And so this is very common. This is highly common. I can give you at least 5 examples of where this has happened, where a TIF has happened. So again, instead of them coming and say, hey, we need the parish to do facade improvements in that area, you could turn, instead of going to the parish coffers, to our general fund or to oil and gas or to riverboat fund, there should be a fund already set up that will support. That area will generate its own economic activity to put back into that area. So you're basically recycling improvements back into that area. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. I think most commissioners are generally supportive of the idea. We're just trying to figure out what's going on.
No, I just want the public to understand how does it work, because TIFs are relatively, unfortunately, unused in our area. If you go to Lafayette, I think they have about 12 TIFs in the Lafayette area. So I'm just glad to see that, Caddo Parish can benefit from those. Thank you.
Commissioner Hopkins on the board.
Commissioner Jackson, so will this be based off property tax, or is it going to be based off sales tax?
Property tax.
Property taxes, okay.
Property tax TIF, not a sales tax.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Burrell.
Oh, I'm a little bit familiar with TIF entities. The boundary that we're going to establish for Amazon will be the Amazon property, or are we incorporating other commercial institutions? Because similar to the St. Vincent Mall situation where Dillard pulled out and this other
Sears maybe?
Yeah. Is it going to be strictly for Amazon? Is it going to be a commercial area around it?
Question for me?
Go ahead. Yes, sir.
Yeah, no, it encompasses basically the North Market corridor. And so there are some vacant buildings there. There are some buildings that may need to be improved. And so ideally is if they need some facade improvements, if you think about like DDA operates, when somebody comes into the downtown, they can do like facade improvement, streetscape.
So there are other commercial establishments that are already operating and they're going to be a part of this TIF? Okay, that makes it a little complicated. But anyway, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
It's complicated.
Okay, anything else on this? If not, can we vote, please, Mr. Clerk? Voting to forward this to Thursday.
And that motion carries with 9 in support and none in opposition. That brings us to the next item, which is a special resolution honoring Caddo centenarian Geneva Moore on her 106th birthday.
I move to englobo and advance special resolution for Geneva Moore, for State Representative Barbara Norton, for Children's Eye Health and Safety Awareness Month, and the Juvenile Justice Citizens Advisory Committee.
All right, so we have a motion from Commissioner Jackson. Was that second from Commissioner Epperson?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Commissioner Jackson, do you want to comment?
No, I don't.
Commissioner
Just
Epperson?
as a reminder, we did have an agenda addition of a special resolution at the beginning of the meeting.
And the other special resolution.
Did you want to include that?
Yes, please.
Great.
Okay. And Commissioner Epperson, you're
No.
second, and why don't you?
That's what I wanted to do.
Oh, thank you. All right, so we've included the special resolution as well. All right, Mr. Clerk, could you please repeat what we're voting to forward?
Absolutely. So this is a motion to englobo and advance the special resolution honoring Geneva Moore, the special resolution acknowledging former State Representative Barbara Norton, the special resolution recognizing August as Children's Eye Health and Safety Month, the one honoring Ms. Brown with the Salvation Army, the special resolution, and authorizing the appointments to the Juvenile Justice Committee's Citizen Advisory Committee.
Okay, any questions or discussion on any of that? Commissioner Epperson, you were on, is that the old one?
Yeah, I don't know who's supposed to clear it.
I'm trying to clear you. All right, Mr. Clerk, let's vote on that matter.
All right. Mr. Atkins, could you push the button again? For some reason it didn't. And Burrell. Mr. Burrell, if you could. Buttons are being a little sensitive. Thank you. That motion carries with 8 in support and none in opposition to advance those items. The next item you have today is to authorize the reappointment to the Caddo Industrial Development Board of Lasagna Moore.
Move to advance to Thursday.
Second.
Any, I have no comments on this. Ms. Moore was willing to continue to serve. She's served faithfully. So Commissioner Gage Watts and I elected to propose that she be reappointed. Any other comments, discussions? Commissioner Jackson.
Yeah, I'd like to make a substitute motion to englobo and move in mass all of the appointments to Thursday.
Second.
So that's 8.11, 8.12, and 8.13. Is that correct?
14. And 14.
Could we keep 14 out, because I've got a point to make on that one. Is that all right with you, Commissioner
That's
Jackson?
fine with me.
All right, so we are engloboing and forwarding 8.11, 8.12, and 8.13.
Can we take out 8.13?
We're taking out 8.14. There's a reason, I'll tell you why.
Okay.
All right, let's vote.
And that motion carries with 8 in support and 1 in opposition. And that brings us to the next item, which is 8.14, which is to authorize the joint appointment to the Zoning Board of Appeals. This is authorize the appointment of Andrew Crawford, confirmed by the City of Shreveport in their Tuesday, August 10th meeting, to the Zoning Board of Appeals to fill the unexpired term of Miss Brittany Dunn. The term is set to expire on 4/10/2024.
All right. Do we have an motion to advance this to Thursday?
I'll make a motion to advance to Thursday.
Okay. So we have a motion from Commissioner Chavez, a second from Commissioner Burrell. You have any comments?
No, I knew you had one, so I was
Yeah,
just
my issue is, I just wanted to point out that Andrew Crawford is my cousin, and so therefore I need to abstain from this matter on the agenda.
Got it.
All right, so sorry for having to pull that out, but I needed to get that on the record. All right, any other questions or comments on this item? All right, let's have a vote, Mr. Clerk. I'm abstaining.
All right, that motion carries with 8 in support and 1 abstaining. And that brings us to the next section on our agenda of communiques and committee reports. Where the first item we have is the administration's administrative report.
Okay. Yes, sir, Dr. Wilson.
Yes, sir. Vice President Atkins, good afternoon, Commissioners. Just a few updates. The first one concerning the Confederate Monument. We've had some people looking at it. We're still waiting on the bids to comment on it. So there is some activity taking place in terms of appraising what it will cost to do the project. So we're waiting on the outcome of that. The U.S. Treasury Emergency Rental Assistance Program, we got our first draw approved by the state, and we hope to get we'll receiving the first draw from the Community Development Office and GOSEP sometime at the end of this week, so we can continue with the ERAP program as we know it today. The juvenile detention center has 13 individuals there, 2 OJJ, and 3 17-year-olds, and we have 8 youth over at the Caddo Correction Center. The July financial statements should be at your stations, and we have a video we'd like to show you at this time on our interim programs that we had going on this past summer. So, Ms. Kristen.
sure it's something. I said them youngsters know how to handle stuff.
That's right. You got an issue in your
Parish's Summer Worker Program. Thanks to the vision of the Caddo Parish Commission, the parish has been able to expand its reach with more students and more opportunities, working with Goodwill Industries to place students across Caddo Parish in meaningful internships.
Hey, I'm James Jefferson, senior. I just graduated from Northwood High School, and I'll be attending Sanford University in Birmingham, Alabama, and I'll be majoring in law, politics, and society. Well, I mean, being able to intern and working in the criminal environment, I mean, it's been awesome. A lot of the interns, they're a lot older than me. I mean, like I said, I just graduated high school, and so being able to get a sense of clarity maybe, and with what I want to do, this internship has been phenomenal.
I will say that I've learned a ton about trial procedure and criminal court procedure, and I've just learned a ton about how to read a case file and then what to do with those case files while here at the Caddo Parish District Attorney's Office.
I think the major advantage of taking advantage of this experience is that whatever you've chosen to major, whether that's criminal justice, whether that's engineering, whether that's accounting, if we are able to put you in a position where you're going to be having hands-on experience with people who are doing this, I think the takeaway should be is to see the person that's your immediate supervisor and say to yourself, if this person is successful in doing this, how do I develop all of those qualities to be just as successful? If this is what I want to do, or if this is something I know I want to do, to continue to pursue it after college.
My name is Jaquez Smith. I'm a fellow graduate from Green Oaks High School, and in the fall, I'll be attending LSU in Danville.
Getting an internship would be a good way for me to gain experience for my job in the future.
I enjoyed it, really enjoyed it. So, and the girls, I think they had to warm up to it. And once they did, they came in every day looking for me and looking for work. So, and I think I build on everything for them. And so I think they enjoyed it as much as I did.
It was important because I never had any experience working, and it helped me get the experience for when I go to Baton Rouge. I learned how to do data entry and, like she said, faxing, sending paperwork, and making bank statements along with that.
My name is Ashanti Bates. I am attending Southern University in the fall and majoring in psychology. The things that I have enjoyed the most about working at the ARC is mainly the environment, mainly just being able to work here is a great experience for me, and it teaches me a lot.
My PE, they've been a family to me ever since I came in. They've been guiding me along this path as far as the cameras, where to set up the cameras, where to do the lighting, just tips and guides that help me.
But it's great to be able to give our high school students that opportunity at a very early age. And hopefully it gives them a leg up against the competition, and hopefully they'll find meaningful work right here at Caddo Parish. I think one of the things that we have to look at is how we prepare students beyond just high school and beyond college. How are we preparing them for the real world?
Everything about being a lawyer isn't just peaches and cream. You have the ups and you have the downs. So I feel like it's very good for me because I want to be a lawyer, to actually see, ups and downs of how a lawyer's life is every day.
So you get to make a lot of connections and you get to learn a lot, and that's one of the biggest things that I think really can be taken away from this entire internship.
We have loved having these summer interns working with us this summer. I'm so grateful to the Caddo Parish Commission for funding this project and to Goodwill Industries for being a great community partner with us on this. The ARC Caddo Bossier is thriving, and having these individuals with us has helped us achieve even more this summer. We've been able to really focus on the lives of those that we serve. And so they've really helped us out by picking up that and taking those responsibilities on for us. And we just love having them around.
It gives you an opportunity to learn that real world work experience, but it also gives you sort of the hand-holding that you need. We're not just throwing you in the deep end of the water, but you're learning a real world practical experience. And you're also building your resume at a very early age.
I feel like they give students who are interested in the field a direct path to just seeing what they'll be doing in the future. I'm enjoying my experience. This is my third year as an intern here, and every year it's not boring at all. Just seeing what they'll be doing in the future, like it'll let them know right away, is this something I can do? Is is this something I'll be interested in, or will I get bored? And it's just giving you good practice.
Want the community at large to understand that if you know, to talk esoterically about bringing home kids is just conversation. That we need to come together collectively, whether it's us on the Parish Commission, Corporate America, or the medical industry, or whatever, you know, economic pursuits that are in this local community, coming together and making that a reality. Because we'll continue, for decades we've been losing brilliant talent that are serving other communities that can be served.
But I think the future of this program looks bright. We have to continue to invest in our youth from an academic and practical standpoint, but we also are stimulating the economy because these students are spending resources right back into our economy. And so my hope is that we will always set aside dollars to make sure that our students in Caddo Parish have a place to come back home to during the summer months to work, and those students who are here in high school have a place to work. It's meaningful, it's effective, and I think it's a proven success that if we do it right, if we integrate it and continue to go in the right direction, it's going to have a positive effect long term on our community and our youth.
Commissioners, I think our last meeting, we brought some of the students to introduce them personally to you all. And I think the program was very successful this year, and I would say money well spent for the experience these young people received and going through these various jobs that they held. And I think we should continue to do it. And also, that concludes my report, unless there's any questions for me at this time, sir.
Any questions? Let's see, we've got several people on the board. Commissioner Chavez?
Chairman, I'll yield till communiques.
Okay, Commissioner Epperson? He's gone. Commissioner Jackson?
I think I was down for communiques. I think we need to kind of fix our agenda to be able to allow for that or something. I was down for communiques. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So you're down for communiques?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you for communiques too?
I could lump it.
I didn't know if anyone had, does anyone have any comments on the President's report? That's what I'm seeking right now. Okay, seeing none, we'll go back to the board. Commissioner Jackson, you're on the top of the board for communiques.
Oh, okay, thank you. Just gonna ask that the Facebook technology, is it getting outdated or something? I've been getting some complaints that we keep having to start over. So can y'all look into that? I don't know what the city is using, but they usually don't have a problem. I tried to watch it the time when I was out of town, and you kept getting this video interrupted or stream is interrupted. Then it would go offline and then have to come back.
There is currently an issue that we're looking into that is prohibiting us from having from broadcasting longer than about an hour or so.
Okay.
So it's having to be restarted to stream again. We are aware of it and have reported it, and I believe we've identified why that's happening. But we'll work with IT to make sure that that gets corrected.
Is it an internal issue, or is it one that the whatever software technology?
I believe it's the third-party streamer. I think that's what's the situation is.
Is it? Can it be resolved, or do y'all think we might need to get some?
It can be resolved. I think we may have to purchase a renewal of a different license, but we can resolve it.
Okay. All right. That was a great. Appreciate it, Jeff. That was a great video, and hopefully,
it was Crystal Grinley.
Okay.
Orchestrated that to narrate that.
Okay.
And my hat's off to her for doing a good job put it all together.
Absolutely. Well, good job, Ms. Grinley, and definitely want to see how we can. It's probably too large to go on social media, but maybe break it down, break some of those student interviews down, and just share it out there so people will know. Did we get a chance? I know we talked about saving some slots for juvenile. Did we get a chance to do that? I know we talked about saving about 8 to 10. There were about 8 to 10. We didn't get to do that? Okay. So I would have loved to have known how that.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Oh, okay.
We wanted to take the opportunity to show it to commissioners first.
Yeah.
So we're premiering
Cool.
it in its entirety on Facebook and on our YouTube,
Okay.
and all of that when this meeting is over.
Okay, and see if Greg will play it sometime at the film prize or something, as an intermission. Aren't we sponsoring?
Always.
We were sponsored. They should play it at the intermission at the film prize.
Cause Steven's on it.
Okay.
Just saying. I'm
They did a
just
good
saying.
job. They did a good job.
Not a bad commercial.
Yeah, it's good.
You can blur me out.
It's award-winning, prize-winning type.
Yeah,
quality.
and it's a
I
good
agree.
quality. Somebody texted me I look good on the camera. I told you, you gotta get that.
Well,
credit
it took
to
a
the
lot of
camera.
work, but we had to work overtime on that.
That's what I'm saying. This the second week you got me, Doc. This the second week. But
That was Photoshop, was it?
right. I told him, I said, get the credit to the camera, but definitely if we can put that out to the public so people will know. I really wish we could have gotten a juvenile piece in, but hopefully we'll start working toward that for next summer already.
Yes,
Because
sir.
it'll be great to know, if we give individuals an incentive during the summer that have come through our juvenile system, maybe for a non-violent issue, but if we give them something more productive to do, can we kind of work with them to stay out of trouble, not just during the summer months, but forever. So if we could look at that, and thank y'all for moving that program along. Also, do we have an update today on where we are? I know y'all gave us an update last week on the eviction piece, but good to hear that the drawdown is coming.
Yes, sir.
I'm still kind of thinking in the back of my mind that eviction moratorium can be dealt a blow at any moment. So do we have an update on that? And I know we talked about it's probably too early to put a deadline on that application, but hopefully y'all are still.
Yeah, we had to kind of time that very closely.
Okay.
Where resource can't meet the need anymore.
Okay.
But I think we will try to do it like 30 days out.
Okay.
Yeah.
At least put some advance notice out is what you're saying.
Yes, sir. We had to kind of see how things flow in first, because we don't want to get too premature with it.
Okay. And I guess to be more specific about the eviction assistance, will we know who's getting connected to eviction assistance? How is that set up?
Okay. Ms. Frazier, you'd like to entertain that, please?
Sure. Basically, what's going to happen is they're going to have to contact the attorney. The attorney is going to have to get their consent so that they can verify eligibility with us, and then they will let us know who they've helped. They actually have to let us know who they helped so that they will be paid.
So we'll know. It'll be okay. No, that's good to know, because the calls have stopped coming in about eviction, so I don't know if they're getting connected to eviction assistance or if they've gotten paid or what, but I can tell you I've seen a pretty good drop off. I know how Miss Jeanette Miss Jeanette Anderson sent a pretty nasty email, but I don't know that her issue can be resolved.
Her particular issue.
Well, that lady that.
You're shooting the gun.
Issue is
What's up?
separate and apart.
Yeah, she's off the chain.
Well, I started to suggest that her file be transferred over to Fannin Street, but I stopped writing that email midstream because I had kind of just was amazed that she would say that we can't do things that are not legal, and I hope people understand that. So, but appreciate it, and like I said, I don't know that we can help her, but I appreciate y'all for helping the people who can be helped, and so.
Yeah, Finance, Ms. Barnett has been using, Ms. Barnett has been using the letter to assist people when they are having issues to provide to their landlord. So we think that that has helped also.
Great. Well, appreciate it, and that includes my questions for today.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Burrell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just got a couple things. Dr. Wilson?
We ready?
I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Got your attention?
We're just trying to polish up some details on the legal defense portion of what we're just talking about. Just make sure everything's in place, but I'm sorry for interrupting your flow.
That's okay. I just wanted to see if we can get another update on the inner-city I-49 situation. I know we're supposed to have something supposedly coming up at the end of the year, but I would like to know in the interim how they're moving on these so-called studies that's supposed to have been done 3 years ago.
Okay. We'll get you an update.
Sorry?
We'll get you an update.
Thank you. The second thing I have, Mr. Chairman, is on, I guess, getting with the chairman to establish a broadband task force. I know we had some controversy on whether or not a task force could be structured or whether it should be a subcommittee or whatever the case may be. But as we're moving toward this infrastructure monies that's coming from the feds, I was considering not to establish a task force on the broadband from the commission side, since we were working with the Chamber of Commerce, but they are working something separate. I think we really need to have something on our own that we can identify our resources and the basic structure that we're going to need for deployment of broadband.
May I suggest you talk to the president about that?
Yeah, well, I'm just throwing that
you're
out.
documenting it now.
But Woody and I was talking about this earlier, and I wasn't sure which would be the best way to go on this. I held up on establishing any committee or task force to see what the chamber was going to do. They were supposed to be pulling in all the entities. But I think that as this thing moves forward, I think the parish itself should have some direction that we are taking, and take that and fold it into the other organizations that we're going to be dealing with, which is the city as well as the school board, at least those two other entities.
Like some objectives that we want to see developed?
Yeah, from the parish standpoint, because the city, in terms of its land mass, as you know, is 2/3 of the parish in terms of area-wise. But that portion which is outside, you know, well, we'll be actually dealing with both inside and outside the city, right, because somehow people don't think the city is a part of the parish, but we are. So we're gonna have to look at both of them. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Burrell, Commissioner Burrell. Commissioner Chavez.
Thank you, Chairman. To address Commissioner Burrell's comment on 49, I actually attended a meeting last week where the NLCOG director came and gave a report. It was very informative. I think you'd like a lot of the things that he touched on, and he was not in favor of I-49 going over the water supply. I know you and I agree with that. But he did give a good website, and it's very updated. It's www.i49shreveport.com, and they have a real nice spread on there on up to date of what's going on. So to give us really good recap on the current success or progress of I-49, look at www.i49shreveport.com. I think they'll get a lot of questions answered there. Another local highway that we're looking at is Louisiana 3132. Just want to let all the commissioners know that tomorrow, Tuesday, August the 17th at 4 p.m. to 7, there's going to be the public hearing for 3132 Interloop Extension. Obviously, this is the projection with the future I-69, but it's going to be at the LSU Shreveport University Center Ballroom on 1 University Place, 7/11/15. So tomorrow, 4 p.m., I think they're going to give us some good information about that. I know I'll be there. Hope to see a lot of you guys there. One question that I did have earlier on the agenda, somebody came and they were talking about peace practitioners, and I'm not on the American Rescue Funds. Commissioner Atkins, you may be able to touch on this. Was this last week that they came and presented on that?
Ms. Jackson came and presented, the speaker today, she came and presented previously during the American Rescue Plan funding discussions.
So do we anticipate on having another round? Because I know some of us were caught off guard the last meeting on all the additions, but there is some more things like for the Juvenile Justice Center that we would like to get it added. Is the committee gonna meet again before that draft comes to the full body, or should we just get with the chairman on that before?
You know, he's the chairman. I'd hate to speak for the chairman, so I'm not aware, as a committee member, I'm not aware of the committee meeting another time.
Okay.
But I would suggest you discuss that with the chairman.
I'll do it. All right, I'll yield my time back. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Any other? Commissioner Jackson?
Yeah, Dr. Wilson, we adopted that deal on the, I think some marketing for pandemic, whatever, last meeting. And I know we had talked about bringing that, making sure that that's presented to the commission, whatever that plan is. So maybe if you can include that in your administrator's report whenever y'all get it prepared.
Okay, talking from the pandemic task force?
No, I think this was like 50,000 or was it 20,000 or something like
Yes,
that?
sir. Yeah,
And
we're
we had
working
talked
on
about making sure that the
Yes,
buyer.
sir. You may include it in the next update?
Yes,
I will.
if we could see where we are, because I know we've passed dollars for
Yes, sir.
marketing and advertising before, and I don't think they ever,
Yes, sir. I
those
got-
campaigns ever materialized.
I got an update today on it.
Okay,
So, I'll be prepared to give it to you the next
Okay.
time we meet.
okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Is that it, Commissioner Jackson?
That's it, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Clerk, where are we now?
Now we are at the end of communiques, so the next item is citizens' comments, late arrivals. I've not received any requests for citizens' comments at this point.
I don't see any likely sources out there.
I do not either, so that brings us to the consent agenda.
The move to adjourn.
All right, we have a motion to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you all for your help today.